So I made a video a couple days ago in which I explained how the new Tradeups in Counter-Strike changed, and you guys took to it pretty well. I mean, it's not that great of a video, but if you want to go watch it, you'll see like the math behind it. In this video, I'm going to do a couple more examples so you have a more like concrete understanding, because I myself gained like a little bit more understanding of the concept. But I'm going to just also try to create a method such that the people that are talking about it right now have a like set language for what the fuck's going on, because not many people are focusing on this. But I think once the panic subsides a little bit, we're going to start to see money being poured back into the CS market, and people are going to start trading up, and we stand to profit. We're not stupid. We didn't fucking sell everything. So again, previously, let's review how trade-ups used to work in Counter-Strike. 10 skins, you take the average float of those skins and you apply it to your output. Example, Mac 10, we have 10 of them. Our average float is 0.05. We add up all the floats, we divide by 10. Average float, 0.05. Now there's two outputs, but let's say we get the SG53 Bulldozer. Now we can figure out the exact float of this gun right here by looking at its float cap, right? Just go online, search it up, and this one goes from 0.06 to 0.8. So what we need to do is find the range R, let's call it R, of this right here, right? So we just do 0.8 minus 0.0674. Boom, that's your float range. So now what we do is we take that float range and we multiply by 0.05, right? Alright, so that's the same thing as dividing by 20, right? So 0.74 divided by 20, it's around 0.037, some shit like that. We don't need the exacts, but this is just for reference, right? So we do this multiplication here, we apply our average float to the float range, we get this number 0.037, and then we just add it to the leftmost point, so plus 0.037. So your output's going to be somewhere like 0.0937. Again, the exact figures don't really matter. I'm estimating the math, but you would probably get somewhere like a 0.09 minimal wear SG Bulldozer. Alright, now into the fucking fun part. Let's look at the new system we got going on. Do another trade up. We're going to do 5 Mac 10 fades. I don't feel like downloading another picture. And we're also going to do 5 of the Scout filigree, which is from the Canals collection. Sexy as fuck. Alright, now let's assume all of our Mac 10 fades, again, 0.05 float for all of them, and for the Scout, 0.1 for all of them. Just for simplicity's sake, they don't need to be different, but they're going to be different when you do it in game. You know, this is just conceptual. This is just going to help you understand what the fuck's going on. So unlike the previous example, the float caps now matter on your inputs, which honestly just makes more fucking sense. Valve probably should have did this when they introduced trade-ups. It's more intuitive, honestly. Right, your output should depend on your inputs. That is just how math works typically. We now need to find the float caps of these specific skins. So the Mac 10 ranges from 0 to 0.08, which is pretty standard for any fade in the game. These ranges are pretty simple, right? Just do some fucking subtraction here. 0.08 minus 0 is 0.08, and right here 0.5 minus 0 is 0.5. Now we didn't have to do this because all we had to do was add up these floats up here and then find the average. But now we are going to make all float caps equal. So think about it as Valve sort of leveling the playing field, right? There are no skins better than the other. It used to be super easy to trade up with Mac 10s because basically no matter which skin you picked up, if you traded up, you're getting a factory new skin. But now it holds no more weight than a skin that goes from 0 to 1. So our goal is to scale up 0.08 such that our range is 1, right? So we just divide 1 by 0.08, and I believe that's 12.5. Yeah, 12.5. So that's our scale factor. Doing the same for the Scout fucking filigree, our range is 0.5. So to go from 0.5 to 1, simple, multiply by 2. So 2 is our scale factor for the Scout. Okay, so now what do we do with the actual scale factors? Is scale up your floats, right? We scale up the range, so now we got to scale up the floats. Keep everything equal. Isn't this fun? It's like math class. So our Mac 10s, as I said up here, they're all 0.05. So what we have to do is take 0.05 and multiply it by 12.5. Okay, did the math right there. We get 0.625. So not looking great for the Mac 10. We do the Scouts, right? Oh, for the Scouts, they're all 0.1, right? So we just take 0.1, multiply it by 2, our scale factor for the Scout. and we get 0.2. So let's call this figure that we have here, right, now that we've adjusted our floats, let's call this the effective float. That's my fucking patented term. Let's get that one going. And I'm calling these effective floats because when you play with the Mac 10 in the game, right, it's 0.05. But effectively, if you're using it in a trade up or for anything useful where you would need to look at the float, it's now 0.625 because that's the value it's giving you. So now let's find the average. Okay, so we add up 5 times 0.625 and we add up 5 times 0.2. We get 4.125 divided by 10. So our average float is now 0.4125, right? So you could see we had a bunch of 0.05s, we had a bunch of 0.1s, but our average float is now 0.4125 because we're not going off the base float value that you're looking at, we're going off effective float, and that's because we have to scale. So 0.4125, that fucking sucks, to be honest with you. Now let's see how it affects our outputs. Wow, look at that. We got the Nova from the fucking Canals collection. Awesome. This one goes from 0 to 0.5. So we take our range, just like we did in the last example. This doesn't really change. So we have 0.5, and then we just multiply it by 0.4125, whatever the fuck that is. It's around 0.20625, I think. I think that's the math. So that's our float. So this is field tested now. So congrats, you traded up 5 fact news, 5 minimal wears, and now you got a field tested. That's, plus $8 for you. But let's say in an alternate universe, you get the bulldozer that we had before. Right, we did our range before. It's 0.74 because it goes from 06 to 8. So 0.74. 0.74 times 0.4125. So that's going to be around 0.28. And again, we start at 0.06 here, so we just add that. So we're going to get around a 0.34 float skin, which is field tested, but even worse than the Nova. But yeah, that was a pretty concrete example. Hopefully you understand it more now that I was using like actual shit in the game and with actual examples. But you could see inputs now have an effective float, which is what's determining the float of your trade up gun, right? The probabilities I don't think changed anymore. I haven't looked into it though, so don't quote me on that. Alright, let's really turn this bitch into math class. Let's say you got this gun from a case right here. Let's say the float ranges from 0.07 to 0.65, whatever. And let's just say we unboxed it from a case or a fucking terminal, whatever, and we got 0.125 float. So it's min wear. So A, what would be the effective float? Pause the video, figure it out, come back, see if you got it right. Alright, let's see if you got it right. Boom. First thing we're going to do, like we did last time, is take this range. It's 0.58, right? We just do 0.65, we minus 7, 0.58. Awesome. Now that we have our range, we can figure out our effective float, because we got to get 0.58 scaled up to 1. One way you could do this is set up a proportion, right? So 1 to 0.58 is equal to what over 1? So we just get 0.58x equals 1 and divide by 0.58, 1.7. So that's our scale factor. Now, to find our effective float, we would take 0.125 and multiply it by 1.7. Right? I'm not pulling out a calculator right now, but we can get somewhere pretty close. It's probably going to be around 0.227 or something like that. So that's now your effective float. That was fun, right? Let's do another example. Alright, so let's give you the outline of this question, right? You're doing a trade up. You really want the nice, beautiful, sexy, fact new, lowest float, whatever skin. And I give you 3 options. I'm your boy. I'm the arms dealer. And I say, which one do you want? I got this one. This float value right here is 0.005. But it ranges from 0 to 0.1. I have gun B right here. It's got a float of 0.03. Fact new, sexy. Goes from 0 to 0.1. That's the float cap. I got gun C, and it's fat. It's only field tested. I got a little typo there. Let me get rid of that. I got this field tested gun, but it ranges from 0 to 1. Which gun should you pick when doing your trade up? Pause the video, figure it out. So again, what matters here is our effective float, not our float. So if you're given these two pieces of information, you got to do a little bit of math to figure it out, right? This range right here is 0.01, right? So we got to multiply this shit by 100 to get to a 0 to 1 scale, right? So you have to take this, move it over two decimal places, the same thing as multiplying by 100. And now you're looking at a float effective of 0.5 for gun A. So not great. Battle scarred. You're not going to get that sexy fact new trade up. This next one right here, this one's interesting, 0.03. And the float cap's much bigger, right? It's 0.1. So that's a range of 0.1. So to get to 1, we still got to multiply by 10, but it's not 100. So let's see. Move that thing over. So our effective float here is going to be 0.3. So better than the first gun, but let's check out gun C first. Now this third one, what the fuck? This guy offered me a field tester skin. How am I going to get a fact new one with that? Well, pretty fucking easily, right? Because if we take this, our range is 1, no scale needed, so our effective float stays at 0.25. So this is actually the best skin you could get out of what I'm offering you in this specific situation. The trade-up fillers have changed. Some haven't, but most of them have. For example, the UMP 45 Transit, I forget exactly what it's called, but this is the only skin in the train collection that goes from 0 to 1. This is important because this shit trades up to a Tech 9 whiteout, which is like a notoriously hard skin to get factory new from a trade up. So those other blues are useless. The only one that's going to have any sort of value in the market as a trade up filler for people that are like trying to do the best fucking float trade ups, it's going to be the UMP 45 Transit. Going from purple to pink actually stays the same, right? The AK Emerald Pinstripe. A lot of people use that. You've probably seen videos of people doing trade ups, and they always use Emerald Pinstripes as their trade up skin because it's only got one pink in the collection, so it makes it so your odds are better when trading up. The float cap is 0 to 1 here, so this skin is still going to be popular as a trade up filler. If you have these in your inventory, don't sell them. You'll be fine. Lastly, I think this is probably the best investment if you got the money for it. It's the P250 APEP. It's from the Anubis collection. It's the only single pink in the game that I think trades up to 1 red. That also is 0 to 1 float cap. So that's going to be the new primo shit. Like, no more of those cobalt disruptions or what's the other one? The cold-blooded P90. Those are done. It's only going to be this P250 for people actually trying to get a crazy-ass red trade-up. And this is for knives, because that's why this whole fucking thing trade-up shit happened in the first place. The AK Nightwish, that goes from 0 to 1, right? Again, so no scale factor. Our effective floats are our float values. So easy to understand, and that shit trades up to like the Emerald Butterfly knife. So definitely cop a couple of those if you can get them on the low. As for cells, the SG Acid Fade, this shit got gutted, right? Because this ranges from 0 to 0.03, which is, I think, the lowest float cap in the game. So to get that up to 1, you need to multiply that shit by 33. Good luck finding a skin that's actually worth using. A 0.02 skin becomes 0.66. I mean, you can't use this fucking shit. Get rid of them, throw them out. Don't even try to wait for the price to go back up. It's not. I know that my boy Sparkle is going to be pissed, because he always does trade-ups with the P90 Cold-Blooded. I spelled fucking cold wrong, alright? He's going to be devastated, right? Because this shit goes from 0 to 0.08 like we did with the Mac 10. So we're going to have to multiply everything by 12.5. So if you don't have a skin that's like 0.00001 of one of these, do not use them. Get rid of them. They're expensive right now. They're not going to be expensive in a few weeks. Guaranteed. Alright, that's the complete rundown. I know this shit looks like a complete mess, but hopefully you understood as I was going through it. It's pretty similar to my last video, but like, it should be a little more in detail. You should be able to gain a better understanding through this video. So subscribe or don't, I don't care. Use this shit to your advantage. make some bread, and